Howdy folks, it's Alberto here and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator, and today we're going to finish the Amazon bush trip, leg 10 out of 10. It says it's going to have taken us 8 hours by the time we're done, but for us, with all of my other things going on, I think it's about a 12-hour bush trip for me. And yes, you probably hear my heater fan behind me. It should be shutting off any second. But here in Minnesota today, it is super cold in my office because our heat is not kicking in the house, because we are at the time of year where it has gone from 32 degrees every day to 75 degrees the next day. So our heat hasn't needed to turn on, so my office gets really cold. So I had my heater on to heat up my office, and I got to get going and recording this because it's going to take me about an hour and a half to do this, and I barely have an hour and a half in real life time. My heater won't turn off. If I unplug it, it'll ruin the element, so we just have to deal with that noise in the background. That has nothing to do with the flight sim, but hopefully it goes away in a second and you'll be able to hear me better. So, without further ado, let's finish this up. And of course, as soon as the screen loaded, my heater stopped, which is great, but that also means I could have waited 2 minutes before I started recording, but whatever. Alrighty, this is where we landed last time, and we're headed to the coast now, and we're going to fly along the coast with the ocean, based on the preview that I saw that loaded. Road weather is turned on, and the weather is much better than the other days. It's been a few days in real life since we flew that last leg, and it was rainy. It's been rainy the entire bush trip, really. But today it's like just cloudy, so we'll see what happens. It's incredibly beautiful right now. And, as I said, with every video so far, we're just going to do a quick startup here, just because if we did a full procedure every time, it would take much too long. And the videos would be mostly starting up. Also, as I've been saying, I'm getting everything going here. I really enjoyed this bush trip. I'm kind of sad it's going to be over, which I usually don't say when the bush trips are this long. Normally when they're this long, I'm like, yeah, it was good, but too much of a good thing. But for this trip, it's the opposite. I'm like, you could keep going another 8 hours, I'd be fine. Alright, EH and user 27. What's it say on here? EH. It actually says EH. So we're just going to update this as we wait for the airplane to actually start up. Echo Hotel, which is right there. Direct to that. So we get the GPS going appropriately. Boom. Alright. Whoa, dude. No, that's not what I meant. Go back to normal? It was normal. I was just on the wrong twisty thing. There you go. Alright, cool. EH it is. And then we go along the coast. See? And then we land at a teeny tiny airport, which based on the preview image, they want us to land there at night, or that's what they said. And if we do land there at night, it's going to be pretty easy to spot because it'll be lit up. Maybe. I should be careful what I say. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here. Alright, so that's good. Is it running now? Yes, okay. Have to watch that spin up when I increase throttle, because sometimes it wasn't starting up, remember? If you remember from the earlier videos, we were having issues. Alrighty, before we even read about it, let's get autopilot set for 1800. That's been a wonderful altitude to fly at, except for this last bit. Got kind of hairy with the little mountains, but it was fine. Okay. Good. Good. I assume you've watched the previous 6 videos. Has it been 5 videos? So you know what's going on. You don't need to repeat myself or anything else. Let's get a set of flaps down too while we're thinking about it. Alrighty, let's read. How are we going to do this? I think we'll read as we go for this one. I also want to include a lot more sightseeing, I think, if I remember, and longer bits of sightseeing of each shot. Because the last video, I haven't edited yet, but I was thinking about how I was doing it. And even though I had like 2.5, 3 hours of video when I did it, I think it ended up being a pretty short video for you. So I'm going to include a little bit more on this one, if I remember. I could be editing this a month after I record it for all I know. Who knows? I just have to remember. I do take good notes, though. So without further ado, here we go. Prior to takeoff, set the NDB. Okay, we could do that. NDB 290. Can I figure this out? How to do NDB in this thing? There's ADF. Okay. Wait, was it 290? Did it say 290? So NDB uses the ADF card. How do I do the little number? That's the big number. That's the middle number. How do I do the little number? There we go. And then how do I transfer? How do I send this over? There we go. Just like that. Cool. 290 for the ADF, which is your GB your NDB is ADF receiver. Okay. So now I got to figure out how to get that on here. That's localizer. That's GPS. I don't see an NDB card. It would be in here somewhere in your HSI. Heading ADF. There we go. But how do I get it to actually show me ADF? Will this tell me? Will this like point in the direction I need to go? See how it says single, double? Is it this one then? That's single. Is this actually ADF now? Even though it says localizer. See the double arrows? See? I don't know. We'll figure it out. When we get in the air, if I remember, I'll change this to that and see if it goes to this. Because I've never done ADF on a glass cockpit. Huh. I've done VORs, slant alpha stuff, but never ADF. Okay. We spent way too much time on that. Anyway, let's keep going here. Oh, we need to repair and refuel, don't we? We would not make it the rest of the way if we didn't repair and refuel. Okay, well, we tuned it in. We don't need to because we've got the GPS. But for fun, what the heck happened to my GPS? What? Look at this. What happened? That's bizarre. Huh. Okay, we'd have to figure that out too when we get in there. We'll have to see what's going on. I don't know what happened there, but whatever. Something weird happened. Okay. Head there. Take off and fly northeast and pass over the northern bank of the Amazon River. Once in the range of the NEB, use it as a primary navigation guide. After leaving the airport, go that way. You can read about that if you want to. That's 37 minutes. So we won't read about the next stuff till we get there. So we'll read about these as we go this time. Okie dokie. How about that? Simple. All right, we're ready to go then. That is all there is to it. We just need to figure out where we're going to take off from, though. Let's just take off from here because it's closest. We'll use a mid. No, I don't know. We might need that whole runway. So let's go there, back taxi a little bit. Okay, easy. Easy peasy squeezing lemons. Here we go. Favorite taxi view. And let's head over there quickly, briefly. Not that we're in a hurry per se, but I don't want to sit around too much because I just don't want to sit around too much because I don't want this video to be like over an hour. When videos get to be over an hour, it's kind of ridiculous. It does happen sometimes. Sometimes unavoidable, especially if I do like full IFR flights over some distance in a jet or something. I mean, it takes 25 minutes just to start the plane, right? And then another 15 to shut it down and everything. But I will often break those up into two, and I do not want to break this one up into two. So let's get going here. Like I said, we'll back taxi a little bit. This plane does take a little bit of distance to take off. At least I feel like it does. I don't feel like you can take off on a postage stamp like you can some of the other aircraft. But anyway, oh, look at the windsock. We probably should have taken off from the other direction. Whatever. Hopefully you've enjoyed this bus trip as much as I have. Like I said, I've been looking forward to an Amazon trip even before they did the update for South America. I've always thought if they do a South America world update, I hope they do a bush trip with the Amazon. And they did. And we completed it. And even though it started out exactly how I expected with a lot of dense jungle, rainforest, and river, I was full of surprises. Or I was surprised with the trip being full of surprises for the last third or so. It's just been amazing. And I've been so pleased and so happy. So, there we go. So now we'll fly out to the ocean and fly along the banks of the delta of the Amazon. And, yeah, enjoy the last hour here. Hour and 15 minutes, actually. And then you get to see the edited product. Alrighty. Turn around, watch off all those lights. Not that it matters. There we go. And let's get rolling. I think I got everything set. I do. We just got to figure out where that GPS is going to send us. So let's actually get... Oh no, let's get vertical speed ready on my multi-panel. And then we'll probably use heading bug to figure out what happened to the GPS. And there's rotate. Pop up. Oh gosh, we only needed a third of the runway. Call me a liar. Alrighty. Here we go. Flaps up also. And okay, it looks like GPS is actually correct. That's good. Gosh, I want to swing around to the left so we can see the city. We're gonna hand fly out of here, of course. So here we go. And we'll fly to the north and follow the GPS. If it will let us. Let me get heading the same way here, just in case it goes bonkers. I'll go a little bit after like that so that we can get back on track. And then we'll figure out the NDB thing. Oh yeah, there we go. It says ADF. It's tuned in. It's telling me what degrees to go, I think. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. I will figure it out. I'm determined to figure it out. Spoiler alert, I probably won't figure it out. Alright, let's watch our altitude because we don't want to go above 1,800 feet. And let's see here. Let's do autopilot. Let's do heading for now. We'll do 500 feet per minute on vertical speed because that's where we were. There we go. Alright, that brings 1,800 feet. Heading bug will get us closer to the purple line, and then once we do get to the purple line, you know what I'm going to do though? I am actually going, oh, there already is that. I'm going to redirect to that so it doesn't like, there we go. Then it won't spin us around. You know what I mean? So let's hit nav now and autopilot. Beautiful. Okie dokie. You know the drill, right? Just a bunch of sightseeing until we get to the waypoints or the POI or whatever you want to call it. And then we'll read about the next one. So enjoy the sightseeing. I'm going to figure out this ADF thing. And if I figure it out, I will let you know how I did it. But I don't have that much faith in myself. If it were an analog cockpit, that's incredibly easy. You just spin around your ADF card until you get to the radio you want to approach. But this is a glass cockpit. I can't figure out where it is in here. I mean, oh yeah, it is showing up. It's right here. Look. See? The double and single. It was behind the purple one. So let me do something quick. Let me do heading bug. No, heading bug. You stay there. And let me get rid of this a second. Look, there it is. It's been there the whole time. And the reason why it looks like 3 lines is because I have 2 of them. I have 2 of them set up, see? So it's triple lines. Okay, never mind. And then you just use your heading bug to stay tuned to it. See how we're drifting away from it because of the wind? So then you just use your heading bug so that you stay. And then you make sure you're paying attention to your heading so you approach her from the right heading. Right? Easy peasy. Okay. Well, that was easy. But we're going to go back to GPS. So I did figure it out. It was easier than I thought. And you have to try. But we're back on nav. So we'll follow GPS. Okie dokie. I will see you in a little bit. Enjoy the sightseeing. Alrighty, so I guess GPS is turning us before we get to the NDB. NDB's out there somewhere, which means on here is going to start spinning around. I'm going to leave it up because it's fun. It's different to see the NDB go away from us. So there's your NDB out there somewhere, and we're heading out to the ocean now, I guess. So let's just enjoy that view as we turn. And there we go. There's the ocean to the right. There's the ocean up straight ahead. And there's Amazon underneath us. Okie dokie. Let's see here. 39 degrees, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. Okie dokie. Let's read about what is next here as we look at the ocean. Quick 6 minutes out. Turn to the south and pass over the river where it meets the ocean. That's exactly where we are. Gain a visual of the eastern extremity of Vaquasa Island and pass over the fishing village of St. Sebastian, I think, located on the north side of the island, and head to the small rivulet extending to the Amazon. So we're looking for a little river thing with a little village up here somewhere, 5 minutes out only. So let's read about the next thing too at the same time, I guess. After passing over, turn onto a heading and pass over Santa Rosa Bay. The route traverses the outer edge of the river delta, while the Atlantic Ocean lies beyond. Under the water, the delta extends a massive cone of sediment for hundreds of miles, built over millennia by the inexorable flow of the Amazon River. I mentioned this in another video. Word does these translations. I don't know, a bunch of words that they use. Maintaining course, sight a small unnamed island at the end of Santa Rosa Bay. Let's call it Tall Turtle Island. And pass over Tall Turtle Island to reach a small bay on the northern end. Alright, so we got this tiny little town in the rivulet, and then we've got an unnamed island. And that will bring us to there, and then we'll read about this at the island. So we're going to the little river thing there, and then an unnamed island. And then when we get to the unnamed island, we'll read about what's next. So I'll see you in about, well, for me, 18 minutes, I think it was. But for you, it's going to be just another minute or two sightseeing. Yeah, not too complicated. Okay, let's enjoy the sunset together as well. See you in a little bit. And there's our teeny tiny little unnamed island right there. Isn't that cute? Call it Tall Turtle Island. Oh, it looks like a little baby T-Rex with the big head and the little body and the little hand sticking out. Doesn't it? Looks like a baby T-Rex. That's hilarious. Alrighty, as we go over the little tiny unnamed island, let's read about the next greatest thing here. 8 minutes out from here, we're gonna turn to a heading and pass over the eastern end of the island, gain a visual on two islands in the distance, pass over the larger island, so from the tiny island to a big island to another island, and then from there we are going to turn to another island, which is a swampy island, The equator passes directly through the midline of the island. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. So we'll have to make sure we're getting a screenshot or sightseeing over the equator. So that's not the swampy island. Or is it the swampy island? Is it the swampy island? Alright, so POI 30. And then after that it's the airport, so I guess we're just going to finish reading. So back in the southern hemisphere, pass over a channel to the south of the island and gain a visual on 3 small bays. Locate the small airfield behind the middle bay. We'll see if it's lit up or not. Hopefully I won't need to adjust the time of day. It's the second largest island in South America and the largest in the archaeological. It is known for its water buffalo and tidal bore wave that occurs when incoming high tides collide with strongly flowing river water. Land at the airport to include this incredible journey. It is incredible. This is one of my favorite bush trips for sure. So the main thing though is POI 30 in the middle of the island is the equator. So let's see right here. This is the equator. So I'm definitely make sure we have some screenshot stuff, sightseeing there. Otherwise, I guess I'm going to stop talking now until we're ready to approach this teeny tiny little airport, which will heavily rely on GPS to find. Maybe we don't need to. We haven't needed GPS to find any of the others, despite what I thought we would do. I don't know. Whoops, let's bring back props a little bit. There we go. Alrighty, enjoy the sightseeing. A few islands in the equator and an interesting tiny little airport, and I will see you when we get there. Alright, I'm watching our ADF or NDB drift away. We are 1.5 minutes away from the equator. How cool is that? So let's look outside as it gets dusk. And hopefully the airport is lit up as it is in the preview image. Look how there's clouds all around us, but not over us. Isn't that cool? Super neat. Alright. There we go. Just about to reach the equator. Enjoying all the views, every single one of them. Well, that was interesting down there. Look at the bottom. I don't know what that is. Alright, here we go. It's almost equator time, and then we'll have to very carefully find this airport. I'm kind of nervous. I shouldn't be nervous. I know what I'm doing, but I'm always nervous. When it comes to the final landing in bush trips for some reason. Strange, isn't it? And there it is, the equator. Now we are entering the southern hemisphere. So if it's winter in the northern hemisphere and summer in the southern hemisphere, does it change right on the equator? Okay, I'm trying to be funny, and that was not funny. That was actually kind of dumb, but it's a valid question. Which brings me to a quick story. We haven't had any story time this entire trip. This river is like the equator. We haven't had any story time, but I do have a story for you. In geography in 7th grade, I want to say, I failed a test because I was overthinking everything. So it would have questions like, if you're in the United States and you're heading towards, I don't know, Japan or whatever, you know, so if we're in the Western Hemisphere in the United States and you're heading toward the Eastern Hemisphere and you're going, which direction are you going, east or west? And I got that correct. But then I got every question wrong from the other direction. So all of the Eastern Hemisphere questions, I had east and west backwards. Because I'm like, well, you're heading to the Western Hemisphere, so therefore east becomes west. You know what I mean? Just like if you're going north and you hit the North Pole, you're going south now, right? So I was thinking if you're heading west, but you hit the Western Hemisphere border, now you're going east. Do you see where I'm going with this? And so I failed the test, and it was the first time I was such a dork. It was the first time I didn't get an A in my life, and I just like was distraught. So I talked to the teacher, and he listened to my explanations. He let me retake the test, and then I got an A after he explained it to me. But you know, I was just overthinking things, right? It's just, I don't know. So that was one of my first things where I had to realize, okay, I don't have to overthink things. But of course, I've overthought stuff like that my whole life, especially when it comes to music. I also would have an issue with math because I was really, really good at math. But then I would start to come up with my own ways of doing things. Like, you know, just because this is the way it is doesn't mean it has to be this way. And I would find other ways to do things. But then I would overthink that too. And be like, but 2 plus 2 could be 5 because if you think of 9 ninths, or you think of 7 ninths as dot 7 repeating, if you think of 8 ninths as 8.8 repeating, 9 ninths would be dot 9 repeating, not 1. So therefore, if you've got like 2 plus 2, what if it's really like 9 ninths to get the 2? There's another one in there. So why wouldn't it be like 3 or 5? Oh my gosh, it would just go crazy. So yeah, anyway, there was something else I was going to add to that, and I can't remember. So there is your story time for today. If I think of the other thing I used to overthink, I'll let you know, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I definitely used to overthink everything. All right, where are we going here? We're looking for an airport that is lit up. We're going to rely on GPS, like I said. We will keep our altitude until we find it. And then we'll set our heading bug. You can be clicking my multi-panel on my desk. Then we'll set our heading bug to get around the orientation. Where's my heading bug? It's way down there. Let's get it kind of in the direction we're facing. And then we'll slow down approach and everything from there. Just because we don't know the area, we won't be able to see it ahead of time too much. Because even if it's lit up like the picture, it's going to be among the trees, right? So if we look at a reference image, it's pretty close to the water. I was thinking maybe it was this, but I don't think it's that. I think that is too close. Plus, it's going to be directly in our path anyway. So it's going to be out here somewhere. Interesting. Ooh, the stars are coming out. Let's hop outside and have a look at the beautiful stars. Yeah. There was another story I was going to tell. I was going to tell you 2 stories. I told you about east and west, north and south when you cross the borders of the hemispheres. But what was the other story I was going to tell you? It was completely related to school. Oh, I remember. Oh, airport has been spotted. Do you see it? Alright, cool. Let's turn off autopilot. Let's dive down there. And which way is the wind going? Okay, we want to go around and land from the other direction. The other story I was going to tell you was... it was one of those things where, like, up until, like, upper elementary school, I would do dumb things and say dumb things. But it didn't mean I was dumb. I just thought of things differently, right? So, like, we would have to read a short story. And then it would say, how did the princess know that it was wrong to do blah, blah, blah? And I would say, because the story said so. And that's how I would answer all the questions. Like, how do we know Tim and Tom are related? Because the story said so. And I will literally write that for every single thing. Wait, that is the airport, isn't it? Yeah. Where is the orientation of the runway, though? Let's get some flaps out so we don't stall. Hang on. I'm trying to get the runway orientation. It's not lit up like the picture. Yeah, okay, there's the building. And then the runway is on the far side. But it's not lit up. Okay, this is going to be a bummer. Let's get heading bug set now because we know runway orientation. So we're going to fly opposite the heading bug. Alright, let's keep our speed up. We do have flaps all the way down though, but let's get some altitude. Let's get our speed up. We're going to have to aim for that building. So I'm going to give myself a lot of space here. Maybe that's not even enough. This is going to be very interesting, folks. But yes, I just used to say all the time, like, because the story said so. And that's how I lived my life as a child in school. Alright, we're now on a base leg. Yes, we can look at GPS. I'm not actually looking at GPS. I'm looking at my heading bug. See, there it is. Looking at my heading bug. This is a shorter runway, so we do need to land at just about stall. The other runways, we can land a little fast and just float around for a little bit. But this one, we do have to pay attention to our speed. And I really can't tell where the runway is, so we're going to land and hope we don't crash. We just know that it's in this direction, I guess. So as long as you don't hit any trees. Oh gosh, there are trees there. All I see is a windsock. So I'm going to aim for that. And then straighten out and not hit any trees. We're totally going to crash into trees. There's no way. I can't see where the trees aren't. Right? Let's aim for that building. What's our speed at? Okay, good. See, I can't tell. Yeah, stalling is fine. I just can't tell where the trees are. See? Oh, there's trees there. Trees to the right. Oh, what? Oh, now lit up after we landed on it. That's fine. Reversers engaged. Reversers engaged. Reversers engaged. Why is it not lighting up until we touch it? That's not no. This should, I mean, I understand the whole, like, thing. Okay, we landed really well, actually, considering it's completely black. So, we're going to shut this down, and then I'll talk through the lighting, but I can't even see where the things are to shut them down. There's one. Where's the other? Oh, there it is right there. Okay. Whoops, let's push that down. Okay, so, oh, now we get the, flashlight. So, the runway, yeah, I mean, there is a thing, right, where the runway lights don't light up until the pilot tells it to or signals to. You tune in the radio frequency, right? But those didn't light up until I touched the ground. So that was really stupid. That they should have lit up when we were in the air circling. So I'm very glad we were able to do it. That was weird. I did not like how that's not how it's supposed to be. It doesn't light up when you touch the ground. It lights up when you tune in the frequency while you're signaling. Doesn't matter. Hey, I did it in 1 minute less than it said it would take. Very cool. Whatever, we'll not gonna worry about that runway light thing, but that's not how it's supposed to work. So anyway, that's it for this bush trip. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on, however, because we do have one more bush trip from this world update to do. And future world updates will probably have more bush trips, I guess. So you're going to want to watch those. Check out my other videos. I've been doing some Jetstar videos in between a little bit. And Minecraft might pick up again when we get a new server with the SMP I'm with. And I might do some racing later this month because they're supposed to have a drop of new activities. Which, by the time you watch this, probably already went live. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed. Hit like button so people know we exist. And that's it for now. See you next time.